I consider my style to be expressionistic. Even as I continue to do more realistic pieces, I still think expressionism is a big part of what I do. I dabble with impressionism as a style, you know, that interest in painting light or painting the fleeting impression of a scene, but I still think expressionism is at the core of what I do. I'm Christina Wegman from Christina Wegman Fine Art Gallery. I was born in Northridge, California, but I've grown up right here in Huntsville, Alabama. I knew that I wanted to be an artist. It was the summer after I graduated from college, and I decided quite on a whim that I wanted to make a painting. I liked this painting. I thought it turned out a lot better than I was expecting, and so I did some more paintings, and I liked all of them as well. So I approached a gallery owner who was a former teacher of mine and asked her if she liked them, if she thought they were good, and if she would display them. And she said, well, do 10 or 15 of them and we can do a show. And that was really it. I used to work out of my living room, and for about 4 or 5 years I worked out of my home. And I always wanted to have a public studio, but the right opportunity didn't really come up until about 2 years ago when Clinton Row got started. And I've been here for 2 years, and I've thought it was just a really wonderful experience, wonderful adventure. I get to be right here in the middle of downtown, and I'm the only artist working out of a storage facility turned retail center probably in the whole country, so that's pretty neat. I have 3 favorite artists. They are Vasily Kandinsky, Franz Marc, and El Greco. And while I've never intentionally tried to emulate their work, their ideas, their philosophies, their use of color, their use of expressionism has been feeding my work in some way for a very long time. Even as it grows more realistic, I still think that expressionist tendency to want to show internal reality rather than what something looks like has continued to feed through my work. Background is very much an East-West connection. Half of my family is Western European, German, Catholic, and the other half of my family is Armenian Orthodox. And so when I look at somebody like Kandinsky being a Russian Orthodox living in Germany, I feel like that mix of East and West is something I can relate to, and I think the way it manifests in his work is also something I can relate to. So it's very much a spiritual and cultural role model to me. The way I select my content is it can go one of 2 ways. Many times I've simply been walking around somewhere and I connected with it in some way. You know, I love walking around downtown, and for instance, I'm painting a lot of paintings of my surroundings now. And it's simply a matter of being out on a walk and just something speaking to me. And so that's one way that something might wind up in my art. The other way is people do come to me with different projects, and they're constantly commissioning things or just pitching an idea to me and saying, what do you think of this? And I really enjoy the challenge of trying to make that my own in some way. You know, taking a subject that maybe I didn't even think about and saying, well, how can I put my spin on it? Or what does this mean to me? Or have I really thought of this before, and what can I make out of it? But that's interesting too, because I know a lot of artists who don't want to take commissions and feel constricted by it, and I think it actually helps me expand my vision and my repertoire. My commissions have ranged from individual portraits to large-scale murals, and the murals were 2 of my most recent commissions. And they're both really interesting because the outdoor one, which was my first outdoor mural, was basically crowdsourced. We put it up on Facebook and said, what are some of your ideas for this space? What would you like to see here? And I took the ideas that were being mentioned the most often, or that seemed to be the most interesting, and I put it up for a vote. And the vote wound up being for cats, as you know, kind of to raise awareness for pet rescue. The other mural was for Pints and Pixels, a new barcade that's just now opening in the downtown area. And they hired 3 artists to do murals in the space. And mine, they specifically wanted kind of a retro arcade, vintage diner sort of feeling to it. It's a really neat project, really different for me, and yet you look at it and it's undoubtedly my work. It's very much my style. Typically, when a client comes to me with a commission, I want to know what they have in mind. Oh, I ask a lot of questions. I really want to know what's in that person's head. And usually I do a concept sketch of some sort to show them. But sometimes people have come to me and said, hey, I trust you. I see what you do, just surprise me. And that's kind of interesting too. I've been painting for 7 or 8 years now. Prior to that, I used to draw. And I think my drawings were a lot more illustrative. They were a lot more caricaturish. They were very sharply contrasted. My paintings do seem to go through some phases, but it's not quite, where there have been marked changes over the years so much as I sort of go back and forth between the poles of complete abstraction to complete realism and kind of drifting back and forth. Sometimes if I do a piece that has a lot of detail, a lot of realism, the next piece I do will be completely abstract or very loose, or just trying to keep myself from being too tight, too tightly and narrowly focused, trying to broaden my view and loosen up my arms and loosen up my vision a little bit. Huntsville is a very just strange and different place. A lot of people don't like it. I hear a lot of criticism of Huntsville, and I never quite understood it because I thought that Huntsville was very, very unique. I think, we have a lot of engineers here. We have the space race. We have a very interesting history. That makes it almost magical. It's a place that doesn't seem inherently artistic, and I think that's what I like about it as an artist. I think artists are constantly in competition with themselves, so I'm always sort of trying to find better ways of expressing my ideas, or trying to blend things. I really like the idea of blending realism with my current abstract style, and I'm still trying to find ways to blend those 2 styles together that I like. I like working big, so I'm kind of hoping that people will give me opportunities to make bigger pieces. Murals are really great, or just even bigger paintings. I've painted a couple paintings that are over 5 feet. I would like to do more, so that requires space. It requires encouragement and not necessarily sponsorship, but at the very least, a venue. I would like to write a book at one point. I'm not sure what exactly it's going to be about, whether it'll be more about history or more about philosophy or more about the business end of things, since I've had this interesting business experience here in the studio. But I just want to keep doing this because I really enjoy it.